All right, what's up, everyone? You got myself, the Credit Plug. We have a special guest. We got the Credit Kingpin, Jeremy Lucas, in the building today.
Yes,
so
sir.
I just want to let you guys know, what an honor it is to have this gentleman here with us today. Our first ever, one-on-one interview.
Facts.
I definitely appreciate you coming out, and
Yes,
I know a lot of our subscribers, definitely want to know a little bit about you. I guess we could kind of start off in the beginning. I know we came into contact with each other on Instagram a couple years ago.
Yep.
Before I actually even got out there and started, promoting my brand or whatever. I came across Jeremy, and he'd already been doing this thing on Instagram and other social media, preaching financial literacy, teaching people the credit game. And honestly, bro, like I was inspired by what I saw, the platform that you had. So, I just wanted to give you your props and let you know how you inspired me to really get out here and start preaching financial literacy. So I just want to give you your flowers. But yeah, so for those who don't know, Credit Kingpin, one of the big names out here in the financial literacy space. He has a couple movements that he's a part of. Have a mentorship program.
Yes, sir.
So let's start off in the beginning. When did you come up with the idea of teaching financial literacy on social media? Was credit something that you were already educated on? Did you learn along the way? Was it passed down from your elders? How did you really understand the importance of credit, and when did you really decide that that's something that you wanted to educate other people on?
Got you, man. So, man, it was a long journey. When I turned, what, it was like 16, 17, graduating high school, my mother was like, I'm never going to co-sign anything for you. So, what you're going to do is you're going to get you a credit card and you're going to make the payments on time so that whenever you want to buy a house or a car, you can buy something on your own. And she just stressed the importance of not making late payments. So, my whole credit journey, I just, thought you just had to make your payments on time. I wasn't, aware of all the other factors that dictate your credit score, right? But I ended up getting lucky because once I got that credit card, I ended up getting a few more, and I just started playing with my credit cards by charging them and paying them down.
Right.
And I would get these notifications that my score is increasing or decreasing. And I'd be like, I just wonder, why is my score going up and down? And I just started seeing, like, let me see if I charge $1,000, if it goes up or down. And I would see it drop. And then when I paid it off, I would see it go up.
Right.
So that's when I realized it was like an algorithm. And that's when I knew, your credit utilization was a factor, although I wasn't doing the research, so I didn't know it was called credit usage or credit utilization. I just knew when I carried a balance, my scores went down, and when I paid them off, they went up. So that just led me to, do a little more research. So when I would get my statements, I would, look at the interest. And when I would see interest, I started trying to find ways to avoid paying interest. So that's when I started looking at cards with balance transfers and 0% offers and things like that, taking advantage of things like that. And then I started scaling my limits up. And my mother, she just started, I was young, so she was going through my mail and she was like, how are you getting credit card limits that are $7,000,
Wow.
$8,000 limits? So, I was just telling her the strategies that I was doing, the ways I was avoiding interest. Then I even added her as an authorized user on my cards, and so her scores went up. And then I ended up taking some of her debt. She had some debt that she was paying like 30% interest on. I transferred her credit card debt over to my credit cards because I was able to qualify for 0% interest. So she was able to save like $250 just in interest.
Wow.
It was like $298 in interest every month, and she would just pay my cards back, and so it was allowing her to pay off her balances quicker. And then of course she paid that off fast, and now since her cards had no balances, now they ended up increasing her limits, ended up offering her 0% interest offers, and she just started seeing how her whole dynamic changed with her financial profile because we transferred those balances off of
Right.
her card. She paid them off, and now she had a different report, So she started getting different offers and these types of offers I was getting. So that was probably like 2008, 2009, something like that.
Yep.
And after that, she just was like, you should really help some people learn how to do this stuff with credit, right? And at the time, I just thought, since I knew it, it was just
Common
regular
knowledge.
common
Yeah.
knowledge, exactly. And people never talk about it, so that's even more reason why I just never thought to dive into it. And then what happened was, I had a 11-year accounting career, and while I was working, my job was trying to get me to go back to school, and I just didn't want to do that. So I started looking into real estate. I wanted to start flipping houses and things like that. So I thought the best step was to get my real estate license first. So once I got that license, I started seeing that most of the people who I was trying to sell homes to couldn't get pre-approved, so credit was an issue. And my mother was just always preaching, like for probably about 2, 3, 4 years, like, hey, you need to help your community, teach some people
Right.
about credit, and because I had helped her, she saw it work, so she was real like adamant about it. But to me, it was just nothing because it was just something I knew, so I didn't really, think it impacted that much, but it changed her situation. So she was real adamant about it. And so once I got my real estate license and nobody could get qualified, that's when I saw it was a need for financial literacy in order for people to buy homes. And then I could see how this was affecting our community because, we don't get this information. And then, most people can't even, have home ownership, and then that just leads to the perpetual cycle of poverty because if you're just stuck renting your whole life, you're just throwing money in somebody else's pocket, you're
Right.
never owning anything, and I think that's one of the foundations of your financial health being in good shape is having a stable house, and especially just for your family in general, just knowing you have somewhere where your rent's not steady increasing, and too many uncontrolled variables when you don't own your home. So that's when I saw that as an opportunity to merge my credit knowledge with real estate, helping people buy homes. So that's what happened. I started turning those people who had negative credit scores into qualified buyers. It started changing people's lives, allowing them to do things they never thought they could do. Like, it's just amazing to see how some people never even had a credit card, and then I put them through the steps, and they're able to attain credit cards and buy cars at 0% interest and getting the first time home buyer programs. And I just started seeing the impact and the value that it was having, and I started liking it, right? Because I was already working a 9 to 5 job, and I was just doing this on the side, and I just started seeing that this was like a passion. Like it felt good to like work with people and teach them things, and then for them to see it actually work and see how excited they were. It was, a good feeling. So basically, I started doing the credit stuff for about 2.5 years, and then I ended up getting fired from my full-time job last April. And once that happened, that's when I just really kicked it in gear and started attending mentorship programs and getting more education about credit, watching your channel and seeing new ways that I can help my clients. You know what I mean? And it just really started picking up from there. And then once I started having a lot of success helping people with their credit reports, helping people get into houses, I created a mentorship program where I can show people how to, do make money in whether they want to do credit repair or whether they just want to be an affiliate. And that's why we bring you on, because you talk about how you can make money in the affiliate marketing
Absolutely.
space
Yeah.
by not even doing these services. You could just refer them out, like and this affiliate marketing is so big. I just referred my friend to get an alarm system, and I got paid $150. Like, just he
Yeah.
called me one day and was like, "Hey, do you think this price is too high for alarms?" I said, "Man, go to this guy I know.
Right.
$150 right there. He got $150, just affiliate marketing. So, that's what on the mentorship we're teaching. We're not just teaching about how to fix your credit. We're not just teaching about how to leverage your credit, but we're teaching, how to make money in different areas like affiliate marketing, trucking, or just different areas, Airbnb, Turo, and things like that.
Absolutely. That's what I wanted to get into next. But one thing I wanted to touch on was the fact that you recognize the problem, as a real estate agent, where you would probably come across clients who might not be credit worthy to qualify for a mortgage. And here's one thing a lot of people have to understand, right? When you're going, let's say you go to a car dealership, or you're trying to get qualified for a house, the average salesman, average agent, if you're not ready, like when it comes to credit, that's why being in position with your credit is so important. Most of the time they're not going to go the extra mile to see to get you qualified and then actually convert that sales. It's kind of like, okay, you don't qualify, on to the next person. But you actually took a different approach, where you had the knowledge on how to build credit, how to repair credit, how to put people in a situation where they're credit worthy, so then they can go on and get these different,
Yes, sir.
whether that's purchasing a home, getting a vehicle, whatever it might be. So that was, one of the first steps, right? Just getting you in a position to be credit worthy,
Yep.
getting you access to it. And now with your mentorship, you've gone a little further, because I know a lot of things that even our subscribers want to know is, after you get this credit, what do you do with it? How do you actually use the credit to generate income? And I think that's really where the power comes in, because I get a lot of questions like, hey, what do you need all this credit for? What, like, how are you monetizing it? And that's something you teach in your mentorship about, things like Airbnb, Turo, other things, affiliate marketing, just other ways of leveraging credit in order to generate other income streams. So
Yes, sir.
that's what I wanted to go into next. I know you have a couple things, couple ventures. I wanted to talk about real quickly Turo, because I know that's
Yeah.
something that you recently ventured off in. Can you explain to the people like what Turo is, and even maybe break down some of the numbers, to give people kind of a sense of how you could use your credit to create a cash flow through Turo and some of these other platforms?
Most definitely. So there are a few platforms out there. Turo's one, Hire Cars one. It's one called Rental Centric. And basically, what these sites allow you to do, or these platforms allow you to do, is allows you to rent out your personal car or anybody's car. So even if you don't have a car to rent out, you can find somebody who has a car they don't use and kind of broker the deal. So, but basically, it's a way where you can actually just make residual and passive income just by purchasing maybe a cheap car, maybe about $5,000 to $10,000. Whether you do it cash or whether you do it put it on your credit. I'm a big fan of credit, so that's why I always promote it, because if I wanted to get like a $10,000 car, I could simply swipe a credit card uh, with a 0% interest offer, and then just have a couple $100 payment a month, and I'll have a car that I'm able to lease out every day for, let's just say, $35 a day. And you do $35 a day times 30 days. That's all. That's about $1,000, and you're able to just do that and pay your car note. So let's say I have a Nissan Sentra. My car note's $200.
Wow.
So it's made about $374 in the last 12 days. So it's an easy
Covering the
way,
note,
yeah,
yeah.
easy way to double, triple, quadruple the car note. And I set my price very low because I just wanted to get my ratings up and get my reviews up. So yeah, and it's just a business that is pretty much man, it's so easy to do. The hardest part of it is, of course, when you get the car back, you gotta clean it.
Right, the management. Yeah.
Yep, and of course you can find people to do that for you, because a lot of my business partners, they have multiple cars, so they don't have the time to go pick up and drop off cars. So they'll just designate someone to do that aspect of the business and give them a portion.
Got it.
And,
Got it.
and so it's a great way to make some passive income. One of my friends, he just sent me a message because I told him what to do, and he went and bought multiple cars. So he bought like 5 cars in one day.
Wow.
Put 4 of them on Toro. Now he's making like $4,000 every 2 weeks
Wow.
off these cars. So in a month he's saying that he can make like $8,000 to $9,000 off 4 cars. His car notes are like $2,900. So give or take, he can make 4 to 6 grand profit every month. So now he's like, look, he doesn't have to work anymore because he's seeing how this is being consistent. So it's just another way to give people freedom. And of course, that's why credit's so important, because of course he didn't buy 5 cars cash. He leveraged his credit.
Exactly.
And I know some people are like, how does a person buy 5 cars? But there are ways where you have credit. That's the power of credit, where you can leverage that to buy cars. And some of his cars probably didn't have a payment for the first 30 or 60 days. So then he's able to start making money prior to the payment being due.
So there's a very important point that you made, right? So with, let's say, using a credit card to purchase a vehicle, something that's between 5 to 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
I know with like higher end cars, you may not be able to use a credit card to purchase the whole thing. But think about this: you have let's say a business credit card with 0% interest for 12 months. So you have a credit account that's not reporting on your credit, right? A business credit card, and you got a 0% offer for 12 months. So you can use that, purchase a vehicle, put it on Turo. It can cash flow you.
Yep.
And all you're doing is the minimum payment for 12 months. So it's no interest.
Yep.
So you're essentially cash flowing a asset, because you turn what people consider a vehicle, which is, in traditional sense, people think of it as a liability, but you turn it into an asset because it's cash flowing you, no money out of pocket, absolutely no money out of pocket, and it's making an income, and it's all predicated on having the credit to be able to do so. So that's a powerful business model right there. If you have the credit, you can leverage it to create cash flow. So, and it's funny, I was watching a video, Robert Kiyosaki, he was talking about that, how a lot of people say stay out of debt, but he was explaining how he leverages debt, being able to borrow money to create income streams and to get tax advantages from that, because you get things like depreciation, certain write-offs and things like that. So that's just one example, ladies and gentlemen. Turo is one. There's Airbnb that you can do that as well. I'm actually partnered with a lender that does that type of investing as well, where you just put 20% down on a non-owner occupied property, and the loan is not reporting on your personal credit. So
Really?
Yeah, so it stays. Probably got to talk about that at some
dope,
point.
right?
But it stays off of your personal credit, so it's not affecting you. You could build up your portfolio, but again, you need a certain credit profile or a certain credit score in order to qualify and be able to get that 80% LTV. So there's a lot of different ways out there. We also touched on affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing, I think, is very scalable because and I'm sure you kind of understand this too. As you grow, you're going to have to build out a team, because you can't do everything.
Yep.
But with affiliate marketing, anyone can get into it. The barriers of entry are very low, and you could you're highly scalable, right? Because you're just connecting two different parties, and one party is creating value. I mean, they're both creating value for each other, and it's very scalable. Another great way for people to make income. A couple other questions I wanted to ask you. So what would you say, for someone out here who is maybe struggling with credit, or they might have derogatory items and things like that, money might be a little tight. What would you say to that person to get out of their situation that they're currently in? What would be your advice for that person? Like, what should they do Should they make the investment in repairing their credit, and kind of what would you say would be like the downsides or the consequences of not doing or not investing in building your credit?
Man, one of the first things I would do is I would say, helping that person get their mindset right and their focus right? Because they gotta start to understand the importance of why they're doing this, right? So they gotta start to understand why credit is important. So one, they're gonna have to start doing some research, some education, um, as to what benefits you get from having good credit, and then start researching the factors that go into credit. Like just and I have an ebook explaining this. So basically, just educating themselves, and then also getting with a professional. Getting with somebody who's in the financial literacy, in the credit space, um, who can actually guide them on the steps. And it's very simple steps. Credit is very simple, where you just removing negative items, and then you're building positive accounts. So if they need help removing negative items, I'm sure I can help them. And if they need positive accounts, I'm sure you got it.
Absolutely.
So it's just a mix of the two. So you can't just. A lot of people think just removing or deleting negative items is going to raise their score when it really doesn't, because they have to put positive things on their credit report. So I just tell people to look at it like, look at removing the negative items like expunging a criminal record, and then look at adding primary accounts like as if you were adding work references to your resume.
Exactly. Building up that history.
Exactly. So that's what I would say do. And man, what was your next question? What was the other question?
You kind of touched on it. Like, so I know one of the things that even myself, because I had a different path than you. You kind of understood early on like how imperative having that 100% on time payment is. Myself, I kind of got stung and learned the hard way. When having bad credit, not being able to do certain things, not being able to go and get a car at a decent interest rate, or being able to rent an apartment. How imperative would you say it is, just in the society that we live in, for people to maintain a good credit profile, and like what are some of the consequences? 'Cause we know wealth building
Yeah.
and credit to a certain degree kind of go hand in hand. So
Yeah.
um, what are the consequences of not building up your credit profile and just having a good track record when it comes to repaying your debts and managing credit? What would you say?
Man, I would say, man, and I've seen some horror stories. I have some horror stories of people who I dealt with. So I mean, just having bad credit, I watch it not just hold people back from home ownership, so it keeps them renting, meaning it's going to keep them poorer than the average person who's a homeowner, because now they're not able to save money, they're not putting equity in anything. Also, seeing people having to pay 29% interest on cars.
Wow,
So
that's
I've
crazy.
seen people buy cars for like 15,000 and have $600 car notes. And then of course they're never able to pay that off. So then it's just going to go to the next car they buy. They're going to roll over negative equity from a car they no longer have to put on a new car, and then it's going to be harder for them to pay that one off, because they'll probably have not learned and probably got a high interest rate again. So with high interest as well. Also, having bad credit. I had a friend, and he called me to fix help him with his credit, because his job said that he had to do it for his clearance. And after a couple months, they ended up letting him go because they didn't see the results fast enough. And he ended up letting me help him. We ended up raising his score in a couple months, got some negative items off, and they called him back.
Wow.
And he ended up getting his job back because they said they saw that his profile improved. So they were like watching him. He thought he was just dead in the water and his job was over. But they were, I guess, looking at his report to see when his improvement was going to occur. And then they let him get his job back. So, it can literally change your life, and it can hold you back from a lot of opportunities, because I have a lot of friends that are entrepreneurs, and they have different business endeavors and different ideas that they want to do. And a lot of times their credit profiles aren't at a place where they can even execute or act on these ideas that they have. So, that's another thing that's, is just important to be able to, maneuver with your business endeavors and things like that. And it just gives you another level of freedom. There was a time where I had a home where I was flipping, and I was losing a lot of money, just losing a lot of money. And I was able to leverage my credit so I didn't have to take as big of a blow up front, and it just allowed me to kind of like float a little bit. Even though I was in a bad financial position, I was still able to leverage my credit, pay my bills on time. And that's the only reason I was fighting to keep the house from going under, was because I did not want to have to go through a credit rebuilding stage, because I know how powerful it is. And when I want to go buy a car, or when I want to go buy a home, or when I want to go, even if I were to go get a job, or anything, I don't want someone to use that against me as a way to charge me more money for the same exact purchase. And that's the unfair thing about credit, and that's part of the, that thing people say, the rich get richer and the poor get poor.
Right.
It's honestly because the rich are putting themselves in a position to take advantage of things. So that's another thing people just got to realize is, you got to put yourself in a position, the best financial position, be in the best financial position yourself, so that you can take advantage of these things and you don't have things holding you back in life. And,
Wow.
and that's a way I think now, they're able to use prejudice to keep us out of certain areas by looking at our credit scores.
Wow, you just dropped a handful of gems right there. And some of the things I actually went through personally when you were talking about your credit being used in like a job, for example. I worked as a federal government contractor, and that's one of the things with the clearances, because when they're looking at your credit, you got to remember your credit. It says a lot about you, right? I mean, you could be the best intentioned person, but as fair as it is, with these jobs, they're looking at your credit, and they're really looking to see, okay, is this person financially in trouble? Will that compromise their integrity? Not to say anyone would do that, but that's just the way that they're looking at it. So that's a good point. Also, being charged more for the same items, right? Whether that's a car, whether that's a mortgage. I mean, you could have two identical houses right side by side. One neighbor could be paying, one amount, another neighbor could be paying substantially higher. So by not having good credit, it's going to cost you more. We always talk about this. Whatever the investment might be in terms of fixing, repairing, building your credit. And by investment, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about time as well.
Yes.
Because it is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. But there's a back end cost that you're going to pay for having bad credit through higher interest rates, and less options too. That's another thing.
Definitely.
When you have good credit, you have more options. And then the most important thing I think you pointed out was that as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, being able to seize opportunities when they present themselves. So by having good credit, it makes things much more, smoother in terms of transacting. If you don't have access to credit, you got to do, 10 steps, try to juggle things in order to facilitate a move. Whereas if you have good credit, it's just one step, right?
Yes, sir.
You could just do it. And I think that's probably one of the most powerful things. And I realize that as well now, having access to credit, it just makes your life much easier. You can do things without having to jump over as many hurdles. And I think that's the problem that a lot of us, especially in our community, face is with having bad credit. It just reduces the options that you have out there. So
Most definitely.
Can you talk a little bit about your mentorship program? I know you have some big things going on there. What can you share to the people who might be interested in your mentorship program?
So with the mentorship, what we're covering is how to clean your credit report, right? Not just how to clean it, but how to properly structure it. Because a lot of people just look at the credit score and they think they just want an 800 score, but they're not looking at the data points they're supposed to hit, right? A lot of people just want to do authorized user. They want to go buy 3 or 4 authorized users and to get the 800. But what they're not realizing is that the lenders are and the underwriters are looking at the data points. They want to see your total number of accounts that are yours, not just authorized user.
I don't mean to stop you there, but that's one of the points that I make a lot, right? Authorized users don't really convey your credit worthiness. And you're hearing it from someone else who's been in the credit game for a very long time.
Yep.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yep.
I just wanted to emphasize that.
Yes, sir. So then also, your payment history, they're looking at that. They want that to be 100%. Also, you want to keep your number of inquiries low. Also, you want to keep your credit card utilization low. So you really want to keep that number. People say 30%. That's a rule of thumb, though. So, that's like having a C to pass a class.
Exactly.
Like, it's not really.
It passes, but it's not, yeah.
Exactly. So you want to really be under like 10%. I like to tell people like 3 to 7%. That's when I see my score at the optimum level. So you want to have those factors in there. And a lot of times, some people can have lower scores, but they have those factors are pretty decent. And then they're still feeling like their score is not high, but they're actually in a good position because it's about the structure of your report. They want to see you have at least 5 open, paid on time accounts that you're paying every month. A lot of people, think that them running away from debt and not opening accounts or them not owing someone means that they should have a good credit profile when it really doesn't. Because how can I trust that you're going to repay me if I can't see your track record of who you are able to repay back?
Exactly. And so a huge point with what you just said. So credit is all about how you manage debt. So if you don't have any debt, if you don't have any track record, any data points to show how you're managing it, then you're not necessarily going to have excellent credit. And another point you made in terms of the different data points, because you could have, let's say, and this is something too, even with myself. I remember having, let's say, 670, 680, but I was still able to get approved for things because of other factors, having a thicker profile, XYZ. So it's not all, having a high score is important, but it's not the end all be all. There's other data points as well. And just because you have a slightly lower score, now there are some, parameters to that. Like if your score is like under 640, then likely you have something wrong with your credit profile. But if you're in like that 680, 690 range, you could still get approvals based on what else is on the other accounts you have and things like that. So I say that to say, like, don't always look, oh, you got a high credit score, because you could get a high credit score from just AUs. Yep. But if you don't have that depth of profile, I've had a situation where a client, they had a 750 from authorized users, and they still had to get a cosign at a car dealership because they didn't have their primary accounts. Yep. And I know you have a partner. Won't you let the people know about that too? Yep. One of the partnerships and kind of the data points they look at.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a partnership with Mercedes-Benz in Annapolis, and basically I built a relationship with him because I went in, I bought a car, and then he was asking what type of work was I in, and we started talking about financial literacy, and he started telling me about how people come in the dealership and have these 800 credit scores, but they're all authorized users, and he has to deny them. But then he says some people come in, and sometimes somebody might have a 480 credit score, and he's able to get them approved.
Wait, hold up. A 480 credit score and can get them approved.
Yep. And it's all because of what's on their report. So one person with the 800 might just have all authorized users. They have no mortgage. They have had no recent car loan activity. But a person with a 480 might have a low credit score because they defaulted on, they got a bunch of credit cards in collection, but they're paying their mortgage on time. They're paying their current car note on time, but they just got high utilization and bad rapport or collections with credit cards. He said he can get that approved because he can show that, hey, I'm selling them a car, so I'm looking at how they repay the car.
Wow.
He's not selling them a credit card, so he doesn't care how they treat the credit cards. He's looking at how they treat or pay their card note.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get in a Mercedes, right, there's other data points that they look at. So, if anyone is interested in getting into a new Mercedes, the Credit Kingpin can get you in, even if your credit score. Okay, you mentioned data points, right? So
Yep.
let's say someone has the right data points and they might have a 580 or 600.
Yep.
Can they still get in?
Most definitely. So what they want to see is 5 paid on time accounts. So they want to see whether it's a couple credit cards, your mortgage, they just want to see 5 accounts you're paying on time every month.
Okay.
And that's really the prerequisite. Everything else is workable. Of course, your credit score, give or take what, will dictate your interest rate.
Interest rate, right.
But you definitely can get approved. But a lot of times people come to me and they're like, hey, I got a good credit score. I want to buy a Mercedes. And then we send them there. They got a great credit score. But then the finance manager calls me and says, this guy has
They're not hitting
3 authorized users and 1 credit card. We're not giving him a card.
Wow. That's powerful information right there. And a lot of that too comes from just having this inside information when it comes to like different underwriting requirements and stuff like that. So
Yes, sir.
I always tell people, the underwriting is going to be different everywhere.
Yeah.
Understanding, the data points that are required is definitely important, because you can definitely do a lot depending on your profile, and not necessarily everything is predicated on the numeric score. So definitely some good points. If anyone wants to get into a new Mercedes, this is the connect right here. Tell people what type of what are you whipping nowadays?
Man, I got a 2021 AMG GLE coupe. Man, it got massaging seats in there. Oh man, it's crazy.
Oh
man,
man,
it's a nice car.
Man, that's that. Yeah, congratulations on that. Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to hit you up with when I'm ready to cop something new. But
Yes, sir.
But yeah, and then if anyone is interested in your mentorship program,
Yep.
What's the best way to get in contact with you to inquire about that?
Best way is to send me a text message. Just send a text message and put mentorship to number 301-747-0421. And I also have a website that's www.creditkingpinmentorship.com.
Okay, and all that information will be pinned in the comment section right down below. Again, man, it's been a pleasure, man.
Yes,
I definitely
sir,
appreciate
man. It's definitely good
man.
meeting you, man. Finally, brother.
Absolutely. So, so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the Credit Kingpin. Hopefully, we'll do some more collaborations
Most
in the
definitely.
future. Most definitely. But yeah, definitely appreciate you coming through and being able to introduce you to the audience. I know a lot of people have been asking about you and wanting to learn from you as well. I've learned a lot from you as well.
I learned a lot from you, brother.
So yeah, no, it's definitely mutual. Well, definitely appreciate it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Credit Kingpin. Until next time, y'all take it easy, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.